Coming up on the 2014 FIFA World Cup magazine, we visit Casa Pele in Tres Corações. We take to the skies in Rio to ride the Bondinho to the top of the Sugarloaf Mountain. And with the FIFA Confederations Cup fast approaching, we assess the chances of Italy and Brazil. But we begin in Panama, where in late March the hosts in red entertained Honduras in the latest round of FIFA World Cup qualifying in the North, Central America and Caribbean zone. 4 days after securing a valuable draw in Jamaica, Panama were quick out of the blocks here. Just 2 minutes in, and Luis Tejada, a veteran of 3 qualifying campaigns, gave the home side the lead. Panama have never qualified for the finals of a FIFA World Cup, but are certainly giving themselves a great chance of finally realising that dream. A second goal 15 minutes from time from Blas Perez completed a 2-0 victory on the night, which puts them in a strong position in the group. Panama are top then with 5 points from their 3 games. Costa Rica and the USA currently occupy the other 2 automatic qualifying berths, with perennial finalists Mexico still without a win in 5th. On to Europe, and continental heavyweights France and Spain went toe-to-toe in Paris, where the ever-impressive Xavi had a glorious opportunity to give the visitors an early lead. As usual, Spain dominated possession, and 13 minutes into the second half, they eventually got their reward. Pedro to Monreal, and the defender's cross shot was turned in by the Barcelona player, who'd run from deep to complete an impressive 1-2. France did have chances to get back on level terms, but Victor Valdez, deputising for the injured Iker Casillas, was inspired in the Spain goal to help the visitors extend their unbeaten run in FIFA World Cup qualifying to a staggering 50 games. They now top the group by a point. Meanwhile, in Group C, Germany in the white shirts met Kazakhstan for the second time in 4 days. Goals from Marco Reus, and then this effort from his Dortmund teammate Mario Götze, following good work from Philippe Lahm, had the home side 2-0 ahead on 27 minutes. Germany had won the reverse fixture 3-0 in Astana and wrapped up a 4-1 victory here when Reus scored his second late on. A 16th consecutive finals appearance looks likely. In Group A, Belgium's exciting young squad secured another valuable 3 points as they seek to book their country a finals berth for the first time since 2002. Against Macedonia, on a chilly night in Brussels, Eden Hazard was again the hero. After going close just before the hour mark, the midfielder produced a moment of brilliance shortly after it to score the only goal of the game. Belgium's main rivals, Croatia, also won, and the 2 nations are tied at the top of the group with 4 games left to play. In Oceania, New Zealand were confirmed as group winners in the region's 3rd round of qualifying and will now face the 4th place team from the CONCACAF tournament in an intercontinental playoff in November. In Asia, Australia continue to struggle in Group B. Coach Holger Osijek saw his much-fancied Socceroos concede the first 2 goals of a thrilling encounter at home to Oman. Abdul Aziz Mubarak with the first just 6 minutes in. Tim Cahill reduced the arrears before Brett Holman spared the home side's blushes with a shot that surprised Oman's goalkeeper Ali Al-Habsi. A point gained in the end for Australia, who will need to improve if they're to reach Brazil. In the region's Group A, Uzbekistan will be daring to dream of a first finals appearance after a 3rd win from 6 games kept them top of the table. Against Lebanon in Tashkent, the Uzbeks were grateful to a deflected effort from captain Servej Jeparov, a veteran of 2 previous qualifying campaigns. It could well prove to be 3rd time lucky for him. Korea Republic occupy the other automatic qualifying berth in Group A after scoring a 96th minute winner against Qatar. In Group B, Japan missed out on becoming the first nation to qualify after losing 2-1 in Jordan. They'll get another chance at home to Australia in June. Finally to South America, where Uruguay's hopes of emulating their achievements in South Africa are diminishing game by game. After managing only a draw at home to Paraguay, the Celeste were beaten in Chile, for whom Esteban Paredes opened the scoring. Uruguay had their moments, but Eduardo Vargas put the game beyond the visitors with Chile's second goal 12 minutes from time. The Celeste will look to get back on track away to Venezuela in June, before heading to Brazil for the FIFA Confederations Cup. Argentina, Ecuador and Colombia are looking well placed to qualify from South America. The fourth spot is very much up for grabs, with any one of 4 nations in with a realistic chance of booking themselves a berth in Brazil. Officially, the Estadio Governador Magallanes Pinto. In football circles, Belo Horizonte's main stadium is better known as the Mineirao. Home once again to Atlético Mineiro and Cruzeiro, the 62,000 capacity stadium has undergone major reconstruction in preparation for its hosting of 3 fixtures at the FIFA Confederations Cup and 6 at the FIFA World Cup in 2014. And responsible for the design of the new-look Mineirao were architects Bruno Campos, Marcelo Fontes and Silvio Todeschi.
I would never have imagined when I was a kid going to the Mineirao that one day I would be partly responsible for the project of renovating the stadium. Sometimes we find it hard to believe the opportunity we've had. We had to comply with the FIFA guidelines and we had to coordinate all the complementary aspects to ensure the work was completed within the time frame. That was the greatest challenge. The visibility is huge, so we couldn't afford to make any mistakes. A small error here is of great significance in the bigger picture. So our team of 20 or 25 people had to work with a lot of concentration and dedication. And now, seeing the stadium working in the way it was designed to, we're excited and we can't wait to see it used at the Confederations Cup. We've already watched some games there, as well as some shows, and things are working well. So it really is a great joy for us to have had the opportunity to work on this stadium.
I had the opportunity to meet many people and to learn many things that I didn't know before. And I've made many friends. To be a part of a job as big as this one, that will be seen by the whole world, that will welcome people from all across the globe, is something that fills us with pride. We can go anywhere now and say, I worked at Mineirao with lots of different people from all over the world. It's something that will always be on my resume.
I was responsible for the electrics, for all the electrics that supported the workers, not for the stadium itself, but for the workers themselves. I'm very proud to have been a part of this and still to be involved today. It's a beautiful stadium, and we managed to finish on time. It wasn't easy because it was a big rush, but we managed to do it, and it's looking great. I think from now on, it will be a new postcard for Belo Horizonte and for Minas Gerais.
The city and the state have gained a lot from the modernisation of our stadium. And I think it's also good for the self-esteem of the people of Minas to have a World Cup venue here. We will host the World Cup semi-final. This is a big match. It's wonderful. I think it's also important for the self-esteem of the people of Minas to see their state getting more exposure internationally, to see their state hosting big events. There's also an undeniable legacy that we will have in terms of international tourism here for Minas Gerais and Belo Horizonte as a result of the World Cup.
The Mineirao was the second of Brazil's 12 World Cup stadia to be completed, hot on the heels of Fortaleza's Estadio Castelao, and has already hosted matches in the state championship. On June 17th, the Mineirao will open its doors to the watching world as Tahiti take on Nigeria in the FIFA Confederations Cup. The 9th edition of the FIFA Confederations Cup is fast approaching, and this year's tournament will feature 2 previous winners of this competition, plus 4 nations who've triumphed in the FIFA World Cup: Brazil, Spain, Uruguay, and the 4-time world champions, Italy. Almost 4 years have passed since the then world champions, Italy, made their FIFA Confederations Cup debut in South Africa. Drawn in a group alongside Egypt, Brazil and the USA, the Azzurri failed to progress to the semi-finals of the tournament, losing 2 of their 3 group games, to Egypt and the eventual winners, Brazil. In June, the Italians will try again, this time under the stewardship of Cesare Prandelli, the coach who was so impressive in guiding them to the final of the European Championship in 2012. An achievement that earned them their berth in Brazil.
We focused on our goal, which was to regain the trust of our supporters, to show love and respect towards the blue shirt. We were also able to play good football, and now we just need to gain more experience and arrive prepared at international tournaments without any fear of competing. We need to know how to face the big teams, always with respect, but also with the awareness that we can perform at the top level.
Prandelli is in the process of rejuvenating the ageing squad that he inherited after the last World Cup. Younger players are being given an opportunity, and their performances in the current qualifying campaign suggest that the coach has chosen the right path. Mattia De Sciglio, Stefan El Shaarawy and Mario Balotelli all started against Malta in March, with Balotelli scoring both goals in a 2-0 victory that keeps the Azzurri 3 points clear of Bulgaria at the top of Group B.
We have some interesting young players, and their growth during this year and a half will be very important. In addition, we've always had a good tradition of attacking players, and I hope they can gain more experience without having to shoulder too much responsibility.
As good as some of Italy's youngsters are, there's always room for experience. In Gigi Buffon, Daniele De Rossi and Andrea Pirlo, the latest a standout performer at Euro 2012, Prandelli can still call upon some world-class performers, and he'll continue to do so in this results-based business.
The hardest part is to keep the critics happy, to keep everyone on side while obtaining good results. We've tried to anticipate this renewal process because as a squad, we want to be well prepared for next year.
Italy have been drawn in Group A at the FIFA Confederations Cup, alongside Mexico, Japan and the hosts Brazil. Progress from the group and they'll face one of Spain, Uruguay, Tahiti or Nigeria in the semi-finals, in a tournament blessed with great teams.
Yes, this is an amazing competition, because with Brazil, Italy and Spain all present, there are many titles on show. But it's also because a World Cup year is just around the corner, and it will be really interesting to watch these teams and see what state they'll be in come June.
Some would suggest that after a long season with their clubs, Prandelli's players might be in need of a rest, but he'll hear nothing of that. It's an important tournament and there are valuable lessons to be learned.
It is an advantage because it gives an opportunity to gain more experience, particularly for our younger players, and it also gives them a taste of what the atmosphere will be like at the World Cup.
Rio has so much to offer the many tourists who flock here, but no visit is complete without a journey to the summit of Pão de Açúcar, or Sugarloaf Mountain. Named as such by the Portuguese at the height of the sugarcane trade in the 16th century, the granite and quartz outcrop has been linked to the mainland for the past 100 years by a cable car, known locally as the Bondinho.
To begin with, the Sugarloaf cable car was a dream. It was an object of desire and extremely difficult to realise. Today, 100 years later, it is one of the city's main landmarks. Together with Corcovado, it is one of the symbols of the city of Rio de Janeiro.
Augusto Ferreira Ramos first dreamt of linking Urca Hill to Sugarloaf Mountain after working on the National Exhibition of 1908. Within 4 years, his dream became a reality. The original wooden cable car functioned for 60 years before another engineer, Cristóvão Leite de Castro, came up with a new design.
It was the most modern project of its time. It involved 50 patents, one of which was for the car itself. The car was designed specifically from an idea conceived by Cristóvão Leite de Castro. He wanted it to be totally transparent, so when people looked at it from the city, when they saw its movement, it would appear as if a diamond were moving up and down. Those inside the car, meanwhile, would be enjoying panoramic views.
The new car can hold up to 65 people, 50 more than its predecessor, and takes its passengers from the foot of Babylonia Hill to the first station at Urca Hill. There's a museum to visit here detailing the history of the complex before the passengers rejoin the Bondinho to complete the 1,400-metre ascent to Sugarloaf Mountain.
I have always tried to improve things and to enrich the experience for our visitors. We've sought to transform their trip to the Sugarloaf. As well as a place to catch a nice view, it's now somewhere that offers an all-round service, with food and souvenirs. All of our efforts are geared towards making this an enjoyable day out for all.
Breathtaking views of a stunning city are guaranteed from the vantage point offered at the summit of the Sugarloaf. What better way to while away the hours between football matches, both this year and next? A statue of Pele welcomes visitors to Três Corações, a large town just a few hours' drive from Sao Paulo, Rio or Belo Horizonte. It's here that the great man came into the world.
A museum or a monument linked to Pele can be constructed anywhere in the world, but the house where he was born can only be built in Três Corações. So we began researching how the house used to look. Some books had 1 or 2 photographs, and then I made contact with his family in Santos, with his mother. I showed them to her and asked, "Was this your house?" She said, "No, none of these houses are mine. So can you describe it?" She said yes, and so it began. With the help of an architect, we started drawing. Donna Celeste, how was the house? Ah, well, it had 3 windows at the front and an entrance to the side. She began describing the house, and we spent 4 hours with her, during which time she gave us all the detailed information we needed, as we asked her everything we could about her house. We returned to Três Corações, and 1 month later, I went back to Santos with the drawings of the house. When she saw them, she got very emotional and said, "This is my house. This is where I was born." That was 8 years ago. More recently, about 2 years ago, we began building the house, and last year we finished it, opening up with a visit from Pele on the 23rd of September, which is Três Corações' anniversary. I thought Pele was going to die in the same place where he was born. He was extremely emotional, both him and his family. They could not believe what they were seeing. He left here when he was 3.5, but you could see it in his eyes. They were glistening with emotion. There were moments when he cried. His children cried too. It was a very emotional visit for everyone who visited the house, because when they entered, they could smell the wood burner, and the radio was playing songs from the olden days, and all of this stirred up their emotions. The house is very well done, and inside it was designed to look like 1940. the year that Pele was born. Since Casa Pele opened on the 23rd of September, it's been growing as a tourist destination. The average number of visitors stands at 2,000 a month, which, for the region, is a very high number, especially as it's not been advertised internationally yet. We've only advertised it in Brazil. But now, as we approach the World Cup, we intend to advertise it to the whole world. And we're inviting people from across the globe to come and visit Minas Gerais and to visit Três Corações, which is the city that witnessed the birth of the most famous footballer of all time.
Time once again to focus our attention on the FIFA Confederations Cup, which will bring thousands of extra tourists to 6 cities in Brazil throughout the month of June. Of the 8 nations that will contest the tournament, none will feel the pressure quite as much as the team in the yellow shirts. Brazil may have missed out on the first 2 editions of the FIFA Confederations Cup, but in the 6 tournaments that followed, the Seleção certainly made up for that, scoring 64 goals in 28 matches and lifting the trophy on 3 occasions, most recently in 2009. Four years on, Brazil is preparing to host the tournament in 6 stadia in 6 cities across this vast nation. And whilst the building work continues at home, the players have been preparing for the competition in colder climes. And when it comes to the big kick-off, they know that much will be expected.
There is always a great pressure, regardless of where Brazil plays. The supporters create that pressure. And now, playing these 2 competitions, the World Cup and the Confederations Cup, at home, the people are well aware of that. We thrive on that pressure.
We have to face the situation. We carry a nation's expectations when we wear the national team shirt. The country stops to watch us, and that is a responsibility. So we all have to look at each other and be aware of the weight of this moment, this shirt, and the importance of defending it.
As was the case in 2002 when the Seleção won the last of their 5 FIFA World Cups, Brazil are again under the guidance of Luis Felipe Scolari. Of the 3 men who filled the post in between times, 2 led Brazil to victory in the FIFA Confederations Cup, although neither was then able to convert that success at the following year's FIFA World Cup. That's the challenge facing the 64-year-old Scolari, whose reappointment has met with widespread approval.
Obviously, when there is a change, you always want it to be for the best, to help us improve, to find a balance, to respect the national side, to respect our players, to respect our history. What has happened is that the last man to lead us to World Cup victory has been chosen. And that kind of pedigree means a lot and deserves some respect. Because to win any competition is never easy.
Brazil were placed in Group A and will get the ball rolling on June 15th against Japan in Brasilia. Then it's Mexico and a chance to avenge their defeat in the final of the Olympic tournament, before a potentially mouth-watering encounter with Italy.
This is an extremely important tournament for us in Brazil, because for 2.5 to 3 years we've been without competitive football. I think it's a barometer, both for me as the coach and the public at large, to really gauge what level we're at.
As World Cup hosts, Brazil's senior team has been restricted to friendly internationals, such as this meeting with South Africa, since their quarter-final exit at the Copa America in 2011. They're yet to find the winning formula on a consistent basis and have failed to win any of the 3 games Scolari has taken charge of since his return to the fold. That might worry some people, But the players know that friendly internationals are a different proposition to the competitive fixtures they'll face in June.
Those games don't carry the same responsibility if you lose. But if that happens at a World Cup, or even if you draw, you can sometimes go out. So playing with that pressure can be good for us because it makes you feel alive. It makes you focus on your goals. So we're missing that right now. The intensity of a competition creates more unity. And the joy that it brings is also good for team spirit.
As hosts and defending champions, Brazil will start the tournament as favourites, and a nation will come to a standstill whenever they take the field. They'll be expected to entertain, they'll be expected to impress, but most importantly, Brazil will be expected to win. Next time, we hear from Rivaldinho, a young talent at Corinthians with a very famous father. We join the conservationists of Salvador, seeking to save the sea turtles. And we conclude our FIFA Confederations Cup countdown with an assessment of Japan and Nigeria. Until then, goodbye.